So we agree on number 4. Derek Harmon is each of our number 4 D tackles in the NFL draft from Michigan. Obviously from Oregon. The guy, Dawn, that you have at number 2, that I have at number 3, and a guy I have at number 3, you have at number 2. Who is your number 2 D tackle in the draft?
Okay. I thought we were agreeing on a lot here. I was going to say we were agreeing on too much there for a second.
We were.
You set it up like we were agreeing on a lot.
We can't agree. We disagree at number 2 and number 3.
Yeah, we can't agree on too many things on this show.
So who do you like at number 2? Who is right behind Mason Grant for you?
The other guy at Michigan, that's big Kenneth Grant. And I think it's just so easy to see with him what his role is going to be and how good he's going to be at it, right? I think he's somebody who could be in consideration as high as maybe number 12 to the Cowboys for what they need, right? And you're talking about a 340-pound space eater who is not a normal athlete at 340 pounds. It's ridiculous the way he can move sometimes. There's the famous play where he ran down Katron Allen from behind, right? I mean, the swim move to get around blockers, to quickness, he can still stack and shed with power. He's even at that size quick enough to be the looper on stunts, which is ridiculous because usually you talk about a guy built like Grant is going to be the first guy to go as the penetrator, and then whatever's coming behind him is coming behind him. But I mean, there are times you watch Kenneth Grant, you're like, that's an alien. What's the Jim Harbaugh quote? Gift from the football gods?
He called him God's gift to football,
Yeah, I mean, that's about right. Look, he's at 6'3", he gets in trouble a little bit when his pad level gets high, and I don't think he's ever going to be an elite pass rusher, but when you talk about trying to build a guy, I continue to think, too, about DJ Reader and all his years in Cincinnati, even back in the days at Houston and now in Detroit, the impact he has on the rest of a defense. I think about those years when DJ Reader was with the Bengals. When he was on the field, top 5 run defense. When he was off the field, bottom 6 to 8 run defense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that much of an impact when you rarely see him move backwards because he's 340 and he's powerful. You rarely see him, unable to handle any sort of speed, which is weird. Like when you think about a guy like Kenneth Grant defending, let's say, against wide zone teams and teams trying to get lateral, he's still a factor, which is crazy. Because usually you talk about those guys being a factor, like Darius Alexander, 300, 310 pounds. At 340, what Kenneth Grant could do for a team's run defense, it could really change everything. Because you're talking about, again, a guy who apparently is quick enough to penetrate at his size, which is nuts, powerful enough to not move backwards, and something that doesn't get talked about enough, and I don't know if we could ever come up with a metric for it, but the amount of times you see with Kenneth Grant where because he's there and because he's taken on doubles and things of that nature, the linebackers being so free.
Yep.
So free. They've got free access to the football, right? It's what made, again, I think about here in Cincinnati, DJ Reader. And then you have Logan Wilson and Jermaine Pratt just running free to the football because everyone's occupied with trying to block a Reader, with trying to block a Kenneth Grant. And he allows you to have an quote-unquote undersized-ish guy like Mason Graham next to him, and you can start building a really complementary defensive line. So I think Grant, to me, it's too easy to project. I know, again, guys get paid to rush the passer, but when you're this good and you have this much of an impact on a football team, especially in a league where all of a sudden Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, all these teams running the ball is cool again, you need guys like Kenneth Grant to stop that.
I mean, he's not your typical nose tackle either, though, right? You mentioned how good he is as a run defender. Like, he's still a really good pass rusher, too, at Michigan. So.
Sure. I mean, I think, again, you're not going to see the high-level sack production. I don't think you're going to have a year where Kenneth Grant gets 12, 13 sacks, whatever, that's on the elite number for inside guys. But he is a pocket pusher. He is a problem. And if you mess around and you think he's not going to give you the swim move and get around you, he's going to do it. So I think certainly, if you're talking about an elite run defender and a B-to-B plus pass rusher, that's one of the best D tackles in the league. That's I mean, you start talking about where guys like Dexter Lawrence get to and things like that. So again, will he be that good? I'm not sure, but the impact he could have on an entire defense and the way he changes, especially in the run game, I think it's a guy worth having in the top 20.
Over the last 2 years, 86.8 PFF grade for Kenneth Grant. He's been a dominant player at Michigan. Like you mentioned before, elite explosiveness right around 340 pounds. He's able to shoot gaps in the run game with that explosiveness and the strength to win one-on-one or eat up double teams as well for him. And I think a couple of the weaknesses I found, hand usage as a pass rusher needs a little bit of work, and also maybe want to be a tad more aggressive sometimes as well, but he's easily the top nose tackle in this draft thanks to his elite size and quickness combination. If he develops a little bit more as a pass rusher with his hand usage, he could become one of the best nose tackles in football, honestly. So I love Kenneth Grant as well. I think he's worthy of being a top 25 pick of the NFL draft and probably could go a lot higher than that in draft night.
Yeah, no, I think there's so many teams I think about with him. Dallas at 12. Some have thought Arizona at 16. Cincinnati at 17, Minnesota at 24. I still think another one. I think about Houston. If he ever fell to 25, go ahead. Go ahead. You want to fill out your defense and have your run defense start catching up to where your pass defense is at, which is elite. You take Kenneth Grant to play between Anderson and Hunter, and you go, who the hell are we going to block? I mean, it's a thing. It's something like that, a scenario. Again, I talk about Houston. It's going to be a topic of conversation. Okay, if your favorite offensive lineman isn't on the board necessarily, Kenneth Grant could make your football team a lot better too. Yep. And you can figure out offensive line, or it's just going to take another year because you just tore it apart. So, I think there's plenty of teams. I'm with you. Kenneth Grant, no way he's getting out of the first round.
No.
I think very possible as high, if they get over the Michigan D-tackle trauma they've had the last couple of years, possibly as high as Dallas at 12.
And Drake Holiday in the chat is even saying Chargers, like you said, Jim Harbaugh called him God's gift to football.
Oh, you talk about replacing Puna Ford. You couldn't do any better than that.
I can see. I mean,
that's ridiculous. I mean, that's exactly. He'd be setting himself up long term for what he just had this past year with Puna Ford.
We already know Jim Harbaugh loves Kenneth Grant. If you call him God's gift to football, you know that already. So yeah, I definitely think number 22, the Chargers, might be his floor. Honestly, I don't see Kenneth Grant going too much lower.
Jimmy won't let him go.
I don't know. I don't know if he'll let him get past there.
Now, what if he had to pick between Grant and Loveland? Might start a fight there. He might have to pick neither of them so he doesn't start a fight.
That'd be tough. Yeah. Hey, thanks for watching another episode of the PFF College Football Show. Please make sure you guys subscribe to the channel.
Also, subscribe to PFF Plus at subscribe.pff.com for all of the same data and grades that we use in our show, plus fantasy tools, betting tools, and our mock draft simulator.